Hey, what's going on, everybody? A very irritated Dr. Sis here, today to talk to you about what I think are largely useless public health agencies that are, they're so excited, yay, we can start pumping 12-year-olds with these emergency authorized experimental shots because somehow that is going to help stop the spread and get us back to normal, and this is the answer, right? And I disagree with it very much for a lot of reasons. But one of the things they put in their post was learn how the vid impacts children. Let's do that, right? So we're going to start with a global view and work our way down and see exactly how the vid affects us worldwide and our kids, okay? So worldwide, there's about 8 billion people. And on average, every year, about 60 million people die, right? So the vid's been around for about a year and a third. And in that time, about 3,345,000 people have died from the vid, out of a total in that time about 80 million deaths, which means out of all the deaths in the past 1.3 years, 4% of them have been from or with the vid, which makes me wonder, what do the other 96% of people die from, right? All you hear about from anyone is the vid. Make sure you run out and get your shots, right? What does the other 96% die from? Here's something it's tragic to me. Is 12 million people in that time, obviously died from something else. You know what that is? 12 million people, way more than the vid. Starvation. And this is mainly women and children, right? 5 million people died in that same time frame from lack of or dirty water. It's so fascinating. You have, almost almost 4 times as many people starving and darn near twice as many people dying of thirst and dirty water. You hear nothing about it, right? Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars spent on the vid. How much of that money goes to this, right? What's really interesting about this, I always think about what is the future going to write about this time period and they look back. Like we have this global deadly pandemic that has completely altered the world in massive ways. And on average, the population worldwide is increasing by 2 people every single second. So we're in the midst of a terrible, deadly pandemic, and the population just keeps skyrocketing. 2 people every second, the population is increasing by, right? But of these people that died, how old are they? So on average, people that have died from the vid worldwide are about 80 years old and with 4 comorbidities, which I'm going to get to. Here's the thing. In the United States, the average age of death is around 80. So worldwide, people live longer, or people from the vid are dying at an older age than we just live in general in America. And why is that? These comorbidities, right? So what are comorbidities? It's things like heart disease, diabetes, obesity, cancers, right? That lower your immune system, you're weaker, and you're more susceptible to getting serious complications and death from the vid. Now here's something that's really interesting from Science Daily. And it says, physical inactivity, lack of exercise, was a serious comorbidity for having serious complications and dying from the vid. So being inactive was such a major contributing factor to death that the only things that were a bigger contributor were being very advanced in age and having organ transplants. That's how important exercise is for a strong body and a strong immune system. When's the last time you heard any public health agency tell you and your kids to get outside and make sure you exercise because it boosts your immune system and protects you from every other virus, including the vid? Never, right? And I think it's just ridiculous. Another thing that's very important, that's from Johnny Unitas, a brilliant guy. He talks about the infection fatality rate. So if you're under 70 and you get the vid, the chances of you dying are 0.04%. So that's like 1 in 2,500. If you're under 70, that's a big range of people. Over 70, it's higher, but under 70, it's 0.04%. So what about kids? Like at the very low age range of that demographic, how deadly is the vid for them? Let's look at it. So in America, kids between 0 and 17 years old, 266 have died from the vid, right? 260, that's in the entire time this pandemic's been going on. 477 kids died from something else, right? What was that? The flu. 776 kids died from something else. Take a guess what that is. Ready? Watch this. Drowning. 776 kids in 2019 died from drowning. do you think we should ban swimming to keep kids safe and healthy? Or is the risk worth the benefit of all these kids getting out and being able to swim? 2,156 deaths from suicide and over 2,500 from car accidents. And all you hear about is this, and all the pressure and even bribing people to do is run out and get shots and to make sure to get out and get your kid the shots. Right? This is the risk right now. You never see numbers like this. In my opinion, the moronic responses to the vid is way more harmful to kids than the vid itself. Like whoever recommends masking 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds all day long, it's moronic. It's completely moronic. There's no data to support that. I can put numbers down right here and show risks, right? There is no... Exercise is one of the most important things. So what do? You take away exercise, you cancel sports, you lock them inside, you put masks on them. It's so utterly moronic. The risk, right? Learn how the vid impacts children. You know what impacts children? The moronic response to the vid. For sure. Here's something else. This is in Wisconsin. So if you're greater than and over 50 years old, there's been 6,719 deaths in Wisconsin. Under 50, there's only been 201, right? What about for an under 19 years old? How many think there is? 5, 10, 20, 50? 3. 3 during this whole entire pandemic, right? So this is the 3. The risk is so damn low, it's insane. And with the risk that low, you got kids running around in masks and pressuring them like to run out at 12 years old and get shots. And by the way, the age is going to keep going down, right? So it was 16 and up, now it's 12 and up, right? There's no way they're going to come out and say, you know, up until 15, these shots aren't a good idea. They're pretty dangerous. Or up until 11, these shots aren't a good idea. They're pretty dangerous. But magically, on your 12th birthday, these shots are amazing. You should go out and get them because it's going to help stop the spread and turn the corner and get us back to normal, right? There's no way they're going to do that. So they're going to try and pressure this on kids 6 months old and older, which to me is insane. Here's another thing you haven't heard about at all because they're too busy scaring you about the vid and telling you to mask, distance, isolate over and over and over again. As 52% of kids have a chronic illness, which is terrifying. 20% of kids are obese, which is insane because it's hard to make kids obese. They want to be active. Their metabolism is through the roof. It's hard to make a kid obese, and we're really freaking good at it. And these numbers are definitely higher because in the last year, with the moronic response to the vid that has no risk to kids, they've gotten much, much heavier. Overweight kids, it's 31%, right? This is stuff that nobody talks about. And when you do bring it up, one of the problems is you get labeled a fat shamer, or people like attack you for bringing up a problem because it's a problem that we really need to address. Here's the thing, when you're overweight, it's not just an aesthetic thing, a looks thing, it's so much more than that. Like, you're more likely to get sick, you're more likely to stay sick longer, and there's studies out there show when you're obese, you stay sick longer, which means you spread it to more people, right? Not only that, but it's heart disease and arthritis and just the lack of mobility, the confidence issues, the mental issues. And here's the thing, the foods, the god-awful foods that we commonly give kids that cause them to be obese also cause allergies and asthma and depression and pain and inflammation and lack of, just so many issues and problems come from this. You hear nothing about it. All you hear about is this, and that we need to be all excited to run out and get more shots because our kids that are the most medicated, most injected kids on the planet with 52% chronically diseased and this obesity rate, we just need more drugs and shots. It's utterly mind-blowing, right? Now people are gonna be like, well, we need to protect others. We need to protect, one, there's no evidence that giving a 12-year-old shots is protecting anybody. And then also I try to think as, let's say I'm over 70, I have multiple comorbidities and I'm in a high-risk demographic. There's still no way I want someone to take their kids out and inject them with these experimental shots on my behalf. I'd feel terrible. At the same point, like if I'm over 70, I have multiple comorbidities, I may consider going and getting the shots because the benefit may likely outweigh the risk, right? But to have this blanket recommendations for every single person when we learn the vid impacts on children is so small, right? It's so crazy. One thing too, when I make videos like this, here's what happens, is by this point, all of you have a belief system, right? So if your belief system isn't in line with mine, and I share these numbers like, oh, that's uncomfortable, and you're like, oh, he's a quack, so you start to attack me personally, which means you lose, right? And if you do agree with me, it's like, oh, this stuff's great, I love this guy, right? And that's something it's so interesting, like, oh, I listen to the experts. You know what an expert is? Someone with a degree that reinforces what you believe. Right? That's all it is. People are like, oh, I listen to the epidemiologists, right? Do you think every single one of them agrees? Do you know how many medical doctors are running out and getting these shots and think it's ridiculous? Tons of them. The problem is so many medical doctors, they work for a corporation, so they can't speak out. No one can fire me, and I don't care if anyone likes me or not, right? I just want to show these are the numbers. Like, none of this is these are the numbers. You can look them up. Okay, another thing that they're doing is like, oh, these shots are free, right? Just go on, you get your free shots. So if they're free, how is Pfizer getting billions of dollars? How is that possible? All right, kids, here's what happens, is when you work, right, you get your check and there's a whole bunch of money taken out. Those are your taxes. So the government takes your taxes, uses that money to pay these drug companies billions of dollars, and then somehow that's free, right? So they take your money and use your money to pay for it, and somehow that's free to most people, and it's not. They're just using different money to get. Another thing, I was going to tell you, well, it's safe and effective for your 12-year-old, right? Safe. Just blanket safe. Was it safe for all those people that have died from blood clots? Was it safe for all the reports to VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Reporting System, right? Was it safe for all them, right? How long is it safe for? There's no long-term studies. You have no idea. So it's safe for what? 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 2 years? You have no idea. It's just safe for everybody, right? At any age. Any of the 3 shots, anybody, any age, it's safe, right? And it's effective. Effective at what? Does it stop transmission? Right? Does it stop you from getting it? Right? Does it just stop you from having severe complications or worse symptoms? Maybe, but it's such a blanket statement, it's absurd, right? It's like me saying eating chicken is safe and effective. At what? Safe and effective at what? It's the same thing. All right, so anyhow, the whole point of this is to show it's not nearly as scary for kids as some people make it out to be. I mean, it's just not. And the responses are way more harmful, right? You know how many kids, mine included, are missing out on activities because they're all freaking canceled because these morons think that having kids together and learning in a group or learning outside is dangerous. It's insane, right? So here's what I've been preaching from the freaking day one, and I'm going to keep preaching because it's the right answer, is to be good role models, to actually lead by example, right? For me, if I'm eating well in front of my kids, they eat well. If I'm getting outside and exercising with my kids, they're getting outside and they're getting exercise, right? If I buy my kids an iPad, an iPhone, and a TV, and they sit and watch TV all day, and then I have the goal to blame them for not going outside, I'm an idiot. Right? It's your fault for buying it for them. You gotta listen. Instead of saying, get outside, say, hey, let's go outside and play. Right? I get it. A lot of times, like it was just last night, my kid's like, no, I don't wanna go in the woods, I don't wanna go in the woods. And I get him in the woods, and all of a sudden he starts having a blast, learning about leaves and flowers and trees. Get him outside. Eat good food. Get the sugary drinks out of the house. It's terrible for you, it's terrible for them. Don't be drinking a bunch of alcohol in front of them, right? Lead a healthy lifestyle. Exercise, get outside, get vitamin E, get some sunlight, take the damn mask off your kids. It's ridiculous, right? And just be healthy. So my whole point of this was to show how the vid impacts kids. I firmly believe our moronic response to the vid is more harmful than anything to kids. And I firmly believe the risk of these experimental emergency authorized shots is far greater than any benefit they may receive. And